Hello, this is my video submission for the final exam. I'm going to quickly go through the MCAF with you for CSAP. So when your client comes in originally, you're going to get them to fill out additional forms. And if all those forms come up fine, you've got your GAQs to fill out, your ALs. If they're all good and everything's fine, you can get started. So when we get started, we're going to make sure that our client is sitting down for 5 minutes so they can fill out the forms while they're relaxing. And then you're going to take the resting heart rate. You're simply going to place your finger just above the radial pulse, right here. You're going to take that for about 15 seconds, and then you're going to times that by 4, and then you'll get your resting heart rate. We just check that to make sure that everything's fine. And then after that, we need to get the blood pressure, and the blood pressure is taken by the blood pressure cuff. You simply apply this around your arm here. You want to make sure that the tubes are facing down, as long with the indicators on the arm that are making sure that the arrows are pointing down right into the little crook here. You're going to pump your needle up here. You're going to pump it up to around 160, and then it's slowly going to lower it around that speed. You're going to pump this up. You're going to lower it slowly down all the way. And what the needle is going to do is it's going to hop as it comes down, like so. While it hops, that's what you're looking for is when it starts hopping and when it stops. And you're going to hear that too in this bad boy. So when you have these two combined, you're going to be able to hear the little thump, 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 and it's going to jump. And you're waiting to hear the first one, which is probably going to be around 120. First one's probably going to be around there, and then the last one's going to be around 70, which is going to be around here somewhere. After we record those numbers, we're going to also put those into our papers. We're checking to make sure that everything's lined up perfectly fine. After that, we have our waist circumference assessment. So it's going to be taken with a tape measure. It's going to be done just above the iliac crest. It's going to be taken all around the waist. This one is optional. There's not a whole lot of tests here that are optional. This is one of them, mainly because for the information that it gives, it's not completely relevant to what we're doing. It would just be nice information to know if you wanted to compare later on down the road, but it's not essential. So when it comes to certain clients that feel uncomfortable with that kind of area, mostly females or people that are choosing to lose a lot of weight, it's a sensitive topic and a sensitive area for anyone to approach, because there's just so much associated with that. So it's just better just to move on. After that, so I know this is a really awkward angle, but we're going to do the MCAF now, which is a part of the step test. It's a part of it. It's to test out your aerobic fitness. I don't have the music, thank God. Try to get your client to step onto the step with his heels fully on the step. When the client steps down, please make sure that the client steps back up with his heels. In between the songs, you will be taking the patient's pulse to see how high it is. We will also be able to explain the Borg scale here. This is used to identify if the patient is ready to stop or not. If they're having trouble with placing their feet firmly up onto the step, it might be a sign that they're ready to stop. If they're not able to keep up, or they seem to be struggling, or their mark is too high on the Borg scale, it's a good sign to stop the test. The step test a little bit more difficult. Round stage 7, the only alternate change will be that the steps, I can't turn mine obviously, but the steps, there's 2 steps and they'll be turned sideways so that it's a higher incline that the client has to make up and down, instead of taking those steps. After the client is done a stage on this step test, so the song will finish, you will proceed to take their radial pulse, and then you'll compare that to the notes that are on your paper. So we're testing a score, and if the score is either too high and they're reporting that their Borg scale is also too high, we'll stop the test, and that's where it'll end. Then we'll take the client on like a 15-minute walk for a cool down. You'll continue to take the pulse to make sure that everything's coming down perfectly fine. And that is pretty much the step test. The step test is just to test anaerobic fitness as seen. Now I will demonstrate the push-up test. The push-up test does not have any time restrictions on it. You simply need to perform as many as you can in a smooth rhythm. For males, it is performed like this with a straight back. For females, the knees will be bent down onto the floor like so. The back still needs to be straight. And again, you can perform as many as you can as long as there is smooth rhythm and the pattern does not break. When the pattern breaks, you're done. Now I will demonstrate a one-legged stance test. This test is taken on each leg 2 times. You will take the best result of the scores. Then you will perform the same test with your eyes closed. You will do the same thing by taking both of the tests. You will know when this is over, when the timer runs out, or if the client breaks balance. When the client breaks balance, you will stop the time there and you will record it. These are some signs of your client losing balance.